Hi, I'm Jason Ball, and I'm a culinary project manager at Oregon State University's Food Innovation Center.
Hi, I'm Sarah Massoni of Oregon State University's Food Innovation Center.
We are part of the College of Agricultural Sciences and housed under the Department of Food Science and Technology, but our facility is located in Portland, Oregon.
Portland, Oregon, right behind the train station on Nato Parkway. I'm going to help you assemble your ratatouille that's in the box. For the baked ratatouille, we're going to start with the eggplant. Cut about 1/4 inch slices so that you can salt the eggplant. We've already preheated our oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and so it'll be ready to go once we have our ratatouille assembled. The reason we salt the eggplant is to remove a little bit of the bitterness that you get when you're cooking with eggplant. So you can just sort of randomly set them on the tray. It doesn't need to be perfect. And just set it aside and let it wait while you prepare the rest of the vegetables. Now we're going to cut the yellow squash. The yellow squash we're going to just cut in circles. So go ahead and make sure your squash is washed and cut 1/4 inch slices of the yellow squash. We're going to neatly arrange our vegetables on the tray so that when it's time to assemble the ratatouille, everything will be in order and it'll be quick and easy. We're going to do the exact same thing with the zucchini that we did with the yellow squash. We're going to cut up to 1/4 inch slices. Don't cut your fingers. Remember to keep your fingers tucked in. We'll take the zucchini and assemble it onto the tray as well so that it's nice and tidy and ready to go into the ratatouille. Now we're going to cut our onion. If you leave the core end on the onion growers of Eastern Oregon told me that you'll be able to slice it more easily. So Jason's going to leave that on there and we're going to slice the onion. Perfect. Place the onion on the tray next to the zucchini so that it's ready for you when you make your ratatouille. The next vegetable we're going to cook, or maybe it's a fruit, is actually a tomato. Go ahead and cut the core off of the tomato and get ready to slice your tomatoes. So destem the thyme. Just go ahead and grab the end of the thyme and you pull the leaves off and collect those on the cutting board. It takes a lot of time. If you want to do something with the stems, you can put them in some hot water and make a fresh thyme tea. So give the thyme a little bit of a chop so that you don't have a bunch of big thyme leaves in. Now we bunch together the parsley and the basil, and we're going to give it a chop. Pour the olive oil over the herbs, salt and pepper, and macerate it, mix it up. The herbs might get a little bit wilty, but that's okay because you're kind of creating a sauce to put on top of your ratatouille. If you need to add more olive oil, go for it. If you don't have olive oil, you can use whatever type of oil you have in your home kitchen. We're going to go ahead and use a 10-inch pie plate. You can use any kind of baking dish that you like. The first thing that I'm going to do actually is put a little bit of oil in the pan so that we don't have a sticky ratatouille. Just take a paper towel and rub it around the dish. It'll help with cleanup when you're done. We're featuring Jimmy Tomatoes vegan tomato sauce. Jimmy, can you tell us a little bit about your sauce?
My tomato sauce originated from an old family recipe, my mother's recipe from 1954. And I make this all from scratch with organic products. And I made 6 5-gallon batches on my stove for all of you to try. I started this business about 2.5 years ago. And I've been in education in Washington, D.C. in the state of Oregon. And I had this tomato sauce I've been making, and I wanted to see if I could sell it. And the Food Innovation Center and Sarah, I took a class from her, and then she helped me with my labeling and did my nutritional labels. So the Food Innovation Center basically launched my project. Right now, I sell at farmers markets. You can go to my website at jimmytomato.com, buy online. It tells where I am, or just call me and I'll make sure you get it.
Great. We want to just go ahead and put that in the bottom of the pan. And now we're going to start layering the ratatouille. I'm going to start with the eggplant, and then I'm going to go every vegetable is just going to get lined up. I'm going to put some extra eggplant in the center. And maybe add a few things into this, since we have enough. There we go. Next, I'm just going to drizzle this beautiful herb and garlic onto the top of the ratatouille. And I'm going to give it a last little grind of salt and pepper. And it's ready to go in the oven. We're going to cover this with foil and put it in the oven for about 30 minutes. Then we'll take the foil off and we'll leave it in the oven for another 10 to 15 just to sort of brown up the top. Ta-da! All right, let's go put this in the oven. The reason I chose ratatouille for us for this dinner is because we can use so many different vegetables together and come up with a delicious, satisfying, warm dish.
Today, what we're going to do is make a nectarine and fennel salad. So, first thing we're going to do is sort of get everything ready, right? And we're using nectarines, but you can use peaches or you can use pears, whichever fruit you have and you like the most. And yeah, let's kind of get into the prep. So first, I'm going to start with taking our fennel, and I'm going to trim this top portion. This is actually after I've washed it, of course. Got to wash your veggies. So what I'm going to do is trim off this bottom bit. That's going to go away, but these we're going to use. So what I'm going to do is kind of pick off these fronds and just go right into our bowl. So I like to think of these almost as an herb. What they're going to do is give us a little bit more of that fennel taste that we like. And you can save these and you can pickle them, which is a great way to use them, but you can also just thinly slice them and put them in the salad as well. I really like to use as much of a fruit and vegetable as possible. Next, we're going to take this fennel bulb and cut it in half. And then also try to get fine slices. Okay, next we are going to use some radishes, but just like the fennel, we are going to use the beautiful greens on the radishes. They're a little bit spicy, a little bit bitter, but I think they make a nice addition to the salad. And at the same time, we don't have to throw them away. So what I'm gonna do, just because I like things being kind of rustic, is I'm just gonna tear these up. All right, next we're gonna slice our radishes. What I like to do is generally cut things in half and have a flat side down on the cutting board. This will make it a little bit easier to cut thin slices safely, so you don't have the radishes rolling around anywhere. Okay, next we're gonna cut up a shallot, put it in there. You can use red onion or white onion if you don't have a shallot. I just got shallots because I think they're delicious. We're going to peel the outer layers. And again, you can really cut these however you like. I'm just going to slice them really thinly. Next thing we're going to do is cut up our nectarines or peaches. So these are going to have a core in the center, and let's see how easy it is to kind of cut around them. So first I'll sort of cut in half like you would an avocado. So we've cut this kind of into 4, and let's see if we can sort of turn it almost like a Rubik's Cube to get some of these pieces out. So I've got one little bit here. We're going to cut right around the core. Okay, and then these you're kind of, again, with everything, I think my philosophy is to cut it however you want, but these we will do kind of in nice slices, but not too thin. You know, this recipe is kind of a favorite of mine. I really love vegetables and I really love fruits, and I think in summer and fall there's a great opportunity to sort of mix and match and really get a good seasonal salad. Okay, so we've got everything fruit and vegetable wise that we're going to put in our salad here. All right, and you can see all these different colors, all these different shapes. Okay, now we are going to make our dressing. So what we'll do is start with some herbs. Right here I've got some mint. I'm just going to take this off the stem. And again, do not throw these away. You can save these and you can make tea out of them. You can save them from all sorts of different herbs and blend them together to make a pesto. But it's always good to save all the scraps. So we got mint. Now we're gonna take some tarragon. Well, first we're gonna finish the mint. All right, and then we are gonna add some tarragon and just sort of pull that off the stem. You know, for these herbs, I think you can use as much or as little as you want. It just depends on how much you like them. And I am gonna give these a rough chop. Go into our dressing bowl. Okay, now we're gonna add the rest of our dressing ingredients. So a little bit of white wine vinegar. A little bit of olive oil. Some honey. A little bit of salt and pepper. If you have some mustard at home, it'll be a great addition as well to this dressing. But what we're going to do now is taste a little bit. And then adjust. I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil and a little bit more honey. Always have to taste and adjust. It's perfect. So now we're going to dress our salad. Give this a really good toss. And this is actually great because if you wanted to have this for dinner, you could make it sort of in the middle of the day, let it sit for a little bit, let everything sort of marinate, and it'll be delicious for dinner. Okay. then I'm just gonna put a little bit in our bowl here. Last thing we're gonna do is top this off with some toasted hazelnuts. I'm just gonna crush them up a little bit with a knife. You can do this in a blender. You can actually put them in a Ziploc bag, sort of hit it with the pan, but whatever you want to do. There you have it. This is our nectarine or peach, fennel, shallot, radish, and herb salad with hazelnuts on top.
Okay, so now we're gonna make our baked dessert dish, which is made with pears and apples. So we wanna cut the pears in half and then in quarters. Trim the core out. The way you check your pear to see if it's ripe is to press gently on the neck near the stem. They always say check the neck. That's how you know your pear is ripe. It should sort of press in just a little bit. If your pears aren't ripe when you receive them, just take them out of the box and set them on the counter for the day before you use them. We want to preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to use an 8x8 pan. We've asked Jason to slice the pears and the apples thinly so that they cook fast, and we decided to leave the skin on the fruit. So we're trying to use 100% of the fruit. Okay, let's assemble the apple and pear crisp. First thing we're going to do is take our half cup of sugar, which I believe has not been measured, so we're just going to dump some in there.
Yeah, none of that stuff has been measured.
Okay, and we're going to use 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. I like to make sure and get the cornstarch and the sugar together. Put that in. And we're going to just give that a toss. I want to make sure that each piece of fruit is covered in the sugar and cornstarch mixture, because as the fruit cooks and the juices are released, that's what's going to make that nice sauce that's going to be in your crisp. That looks great. So we're going to put our cinnamon and a dash of lemon juice, and I don't know what this stuff is. It looks like honey. We don't need any of that. And I like to put just a twist of salt. Go ahead and stir that up. And just set it aside. Now we're going to make our crisp. I softened my butter in the microwave for 8 seconds. And I am going to open this. These are Bob's Red Mill oatmeal cups. They already have hazelnuts and blueberries in them, and that's why we're calling this a blueberry crisp. So we're just going to pour that in. They actually have a sweetener in them as well, and a little bit of delicious blueberry powder. The Food Innovation Center actually helped Bob's Red Mill develop their oatmeal cups. So when I was thinking about what would be fun for us to do for dessert, I called my buddy up at Bob's Red Mill and I said, hey, I'm gonna make a fruit crisp using your oatmeal cups. So we have our soft butter, we have our oatmeal cup in there, and now we're just gonna cut it in. I'm gonna actually use this knife. Cut it into the oatmeal. Make sure you get the blueberry powder all mixed in. I'm gonna add the rest of the sugar into the topping. The idea is to cut the butter into little tiny pea-sized pieces. If you have a pastry cutter, you can use that, maybe 2 forks. Here I am cooking with a knife. My mom would kill me. Get that all mixed up. Set that aside, and I'm gonna take my butter wrapper and just coat the inside of my pan with butter. And then we're gonna pour our fruit into the dish. Isn't that beautiful? We grow a lot of pears in Oregon, and a few apples too. Get all that yummy stuff in there. Sort of move it around a little bit so that it looks kind of even. And then we're just gonna take our topping, put that on top. I'm gonna move it around a little bit, make sure it's covering the whole thing. We'll go put it in the oven. We're gonna bake it for about 40 minutes at 350.